On this episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast, we talk about A Young Person's Guide to King Parrot by King Parrot. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
And I'm having difficulty speaking already.
I don't know why this is...
Well, I tripped over a word ever so slightly, and then it turned into that voice for some reason.
Yeah.
Did I say that we're professional broadcasters? We like metal and we like to talk about it?
No, you didn't.
But now I have.
Yeah, now you have. Because we're professional broadcasters.
Yeah.
We like metal and we like to talk about
That's true. Did you know that?
Know what, Kale?
Well,
let me tell you.
I forgot. Yeah, I don't know. I just got done talking about how I felt weird this morning, and the truth is that I continue to feel weird.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm suddenly incredibly tired.
I feel like you need to do some sort of a sleep study somewhere, or go and just have them examine what the hell you're doing.
They're gonna go.
You so sleepy.
Oh yeah, it's bad. Well, here's your problem. You are bad at sleeping. And I'm gonna go. Yes, I knew that.
I would think you would have well practiced by now. At this.
I mean, I've been doing it pretty much every night. Forever.
You've been doing it
since I have been in the open air anyway, and not encased in amniotic fluid. I've done at least a little bit of it every night.
Right. There was you were encased in amniotic fluid for the latter part of 1995 and early 1996.
Yeah.
And then there was that brief period in 2012.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that.
No, right.
Especially because I was 16. In 2000, no. Yeah, 2012, right. I would have been 16.
It was just for a few weeks, though.
Or no. Would I have been 16 into... Yeah, at some point in the year. I would
March,
have been.
yeah.
At some point, I don't know. How does math work?
There are these things they call numbers.
I hate those.
Do you?
In just the very concept of numbers. You shouldn't we shouldn't have to keep track of things.
We should
That's
never
bullshit.
measure anything. We should.
Here's my line in the sand.
Yeah.
Is keeping track of things. There shouldn't be. We shouldn't have any way of knowing how many of anything there is.
Okay. What a nightmare that would actually be.
How much money do you have? I don't know. How much money does this cost? I don't know. Just, I guess, give me something.
Here's my value papers.
Yeah. And everybody's just kind of like, whatever, you know. How many children do you have? That many.
Yeah.
These over here.
These am children.
What I heard recently, I think it was on Hank Green's podcast, where people just come on and have questions prepared to ask him, and he has answers. It's Ask Hank Anything. He dropped a fact that apparently bees know how to count.
Really?
Or at least some bees know how to count. There was some experiment they did where they put like a treat behind a certain door or something. And there was like a number or a number of symbols, like a number of dots or something above the door. And they would go in there and get the treat. And then they had another door that was like, they changed the rule to where like the door that the treat was behind was the original number minus a certain thing. Like they basically they determined that
arithmetic.
They determined that under certain circumstances, at least, it would appear that bees can do math, which I feel like means that bees are smarter than me. Which fair, I guess.
And more important.
True. Bees are incredibly important.
If I was given the choice, hey, OJ, I want you to kill all the bees
Or
Kale
Kale.
Borner. Yeah.
I'd get it.
I'd say, sorry, dude.
I mean, if you were... Okay, I would only get it if you were placed in that hypothetical situation and the power was yours to kill all the bees.
Right.
Because under normal circumstances, if someone just came up to you and held a gun to you and was like, hey, you have to kill all the bees or Kale.
I mean, neither of those is reasonable right now, sir.
You'd have to go, how the fuck am I going to kill all the bees? What are you going to do to ensure that I kill all the bees?
Right. And how am I supposed to kill Kale? I can barely beat an egg. I don't know what the hell.
I feel like I'm probably easy to kill. Just distract me with like something Warhammer related and sneak up behind me with a brick.
That would be the dumbest action movie. Easy to kill.
Easy to kill. There's something I don't remember if it was a Baldur's Gate meme or something I saw. No, it was Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
There's a Dark Eldar companion, and someone drew fan art of them and their Rogue Trader character.
Yeah.
And the Dark Eldar was wearing a shirt that said "Easy to fuck, hard to kill." And I was just like, I kind of want that shirt. That's a very funny shirt concept. Easy to fuck, hard to kill.
I would think it would be even funnier if you'd had it the opposite. Hard to kill.
Easy to no. Easy to kill, hard to fuck. That might describe me.
I'm slow and ugly.
Well, it's not slow and okay.
Yeah.
That way around, that would make sense. Yes.
Right. Also somewhat impotent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm very fragile. Very fragile, and I have unattractive qualities.
Yeah, I smell funny.
Just push me over, and I'll probably hit my head really hard on the ground.
Just say terse words, and I'll have an anxiety attack and die.
It'll be like one of the game over screens from Disco Elysium, where a child can bully you to death. I don't think the game over screen for that is your character dying. You just immediately quit the police force. It's very early in the game. You have extremely low like mental and physical health because those stats are tracked. You have two main health bars. One is like your mental well-being and the other is your physical well-being. And if either of them drops to 0, the game is over. Right. And you have to, you reset at the most recent save. And one of the early like encounters you can have is there's this extremely mean child who's giving you a lot of shit. And it can cause a game over screen. There are a lot of hilarious game over screens in Disco Elysium. There's one conversation where if your authority stat is too high, because all of your stats are like your personality traits. Yeah. And so if your authority trait is too high, meaning it has taken over your entire personality.
Oh no.
You start doing absolutely ridiculous, contradictory shit to try and like impose your authority over people.
Oh jeez.
And like at one point, I think you like threaten to like finger yourself in front of somebody or something like that. And then at a different point, you threaten to and then can go through with killing yourself in front of someone in order to make them respect you. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but that's what happens when your authority is too high.
Wow. I'm going to show you who's in charge here.
Yeah. You say to your partner, like, Kim, I need to borrow your gun. I don't want to give you my gun. Don't worry, it's just a demonstration. And then you shoot yourself in the head.
That's terrible.
And immediately before you do so, you say, like, get ready to respect me so hard. Like, Disco Elysium is such a bizarre and incredibly written game.
Yeah.
that I need to get around to like actually playing through the whole thing myself.
Wow.
I've watched like a playthrough.
You've never
of
actually
it.
played through
Yeah,
yourself.
I have it. I played a couple hours of it a number of years ago, and I bounced off of it really hard because I was not having a good day. I think I was really hungover. And the beginning of the game was a little too close to home that day.
Because that's the whole premise, is that you drank so much you erased your brain.
Yeah, you not just drank, you did all the drugs.
Yeah.
You had such a catastrophic, cataclysmic bender that you erased your entire personality and all your memories.
Right.
And now you have to solve a murder. And it's like the whole game is you like rebuilding your own personality. And I can't remember how many lines of text there are, but it's ridiculous.
It's a book.
Yeah, it's probably the single most intricately written video games like in history, as far as the branching dialogue paths, the number of different the number of different ways things can end. The game doesn't really have like different endings the way that a lot of like RPGs have, where it's like, oh, you've got different endings. The game pretty much always ends the same way, but the way that you handle the different situations can change drastically, and there are some certain outcomes that will change as well. But like the plot doesn't branch so much, but the dialogue branches drastically.
Right.
Which is it's just incredibly impressive, and there will probably never be another game like it, because all of the people responsible for it have
dead.
No, they're not dead. They've left, either voluntarily left or were fired from the company that they all founded together to make the game.
Really?
Because the guy who basically bought the majority of the shares in the company to help fund the game, who was like this really rich Estonian investor, because all of the people who made the game were Estonian, and they had this really rich investor, and he basically engaged in a hostile takeover of the company.
Wow.
After the success of the game, and forced all of the original crew out, more or less. And they were planning on making a sequel, and I guess maybe they're still doing that, but it's not going to have pretty much any of the things that made the first game what it was. So what's the point? But it's such a insane case of lightning in a bottle. And yeah, at some point I'll get to it. I've got so many games on my backlog right now.
Tell me about it.
Like I'm playing Death Stranding 2 right now, and I'm enjoying it a lot. It's the actual moment-to-moment gameplay is so far very similar to the first game. I'm not very far into the plot. That being said, I have already cried once. They kind of come right out of the gate with an emotional sledgehammer to the face, and then they follow it up immediately with a slightly smaller hammer to the face, and then they're
hammer.
like, and then they're like, hey, you're in Australia now. Australia, like our band, for this episode.
Band,
it's their band, not our band. But yeah, so I'm enjoying it so far, but I'm not very far into it. Largely because I've spent like the last 5 hours of my gameplay backtracking to the tutorial area to try and 5-star all of the delivery locations.
Sure.
And I've gotten stuck on a couple locations where the progress has slowed down a lot, and I think I'm going to have to do a couple of story missions back in Australia, and then pop back to Mexico again to get some more standard deliveries to generate, because right now I've done all of them and only 5-starred a couple of the locations, and collecting lost cargo to try and get your star level up is really frustrating sometimes, because it does not generate you a lot of likes, which sounds like a bizarre thing. There's a whole like social media aspect to it. It's standard Kojima, like there's so many different things, the themes that are weaved together, and it's Yeah, I don't. Good old Hideo Kojima with his just. It's weird to me that like people think of Hideo Kojima games as being so confusing, and they are, but they aren't. It's weird to me that his games are so upfront and in your face with everything that they are about, and yet they are confusing. Like, the games will tell you, we are about this, and this, and when you look at all of it together, you go, what? But we're about these, like, just plainly saying, like, this is about this and this and this and this. These are our themes. But you look at it all together and it doesn't make any fucking sense. But it's good. That's the most confusing part about it, is it doesn't make any goddamn sense, but it's good.
Right.
It's like the fucking Knives Out character. I almost said Craig Ferguson. Daniel Craig,
right.
Where he said that the meme of like, it makes no damn sense. Compels me though. That's just every Kojima game I have played in a nutshell.
You've seen Knives Out, right?
I've not seen it. Knives Out, actually.
Okay. I won't spoil it for you then.
Is there a murder?
What?
There's a murder in the movie.
I don't know about a murder.
Is it kind of like, what if Poirot was Cajun?
Yeah, it is.
But yeah. So I'm liking Death Stranding 2 so far, but I'm playing that right now, and there's like a bunch of other games that I still want to play. Like I've heard a lot of really good things about Expedition 33 that came out. Unfortunately, on the same day as Oblivion Remastered.
Oh, yeah. Which you went through that.
Yeah, that and I haven't finished Oblivion Remastered because I got kind of bored with it.
Really?
Because it's a Bethesda game, and it has more game mechanics but less other stuff in some ways than Skyrim. Like there are certain fun game mechanics that they removed. That are like neat RPG mechanics that didn't make it into Skyrim as the ongoing process of making Bethesda games more and more bland.
I've only ever played 2 Bethesda games.
Yeah.
So if you can guess what those are.
Skyrim and Fallout 4?
Yep.
Yeah. And like there are some mechanics that are a bit more in depth and kind of fun, but the game is also so much less polished in some ways. Like the remaster looks really good, and it's less buggy, I think, than Oblivion was when it came out, but it is still
the same game.
Under the skin, just Oblivion. And so it still has, like, I've experienced a number of crashes, and even on my PlayStation 5,
really,
the crash is a coding thing. The performance is inexcusable. Like the performance, like I will drop frames constantly while I'm just walking around in the open world.
Really?
Like it will get juddery and janky at points, and it's like, this is a nearly 20-year-old game with a new coat of paint on it. Why is this way? And yeah, it's but I got kind of bored with Oblivion, so I'm coming back to it every now and then to play a little bit here and there. But I don't know how much more I will play of it. I'll get back to it eventually. Like Stalker 2 came out last year, and I've been meaning to play that. And Stalker is a series of Ukrainian nuclear-themed survival horror games that I've been interested in a very long time because I'm a big fan of the Metro series,
right,
which is another series of Ukrainian nuclear survival horror games that was heavily inspired. At least the books that the Metro series are based on, and the games as well, were inspired by the Stalker games, and the Stalker games were inspired by a movie from the 70s called Stalker, and a book from a little bit earlier in the 70s called Roadside Picnic. But all, the Stalker games, the book and the movie obviously came out before Chernobyl was a thing.
Right, obviously.
So it's all about all the properties are about this zone full of mysterious bad stuff, right? In the book and the movie, it's places where aliens have landed on Earth, and the stuff they've left behind is really nebulous and weird and dangerous and kind of eldritch, and so people are not supposed to go into these zones, and so you hire people referred to as stalkers to take you into the zones and help you find this stuff. In the games, being made in a post-Chernobyl Eastern Europe, they're like, well, we know of a zone that you're not supposed to go into.
Right, it's radioactive.
So let's make that and have the zone be full of like dangerous mutants as well as like weird, bizarre anomalies.
Have you seen the fungus, by the way?
The fungus?
The black fungus that's growing all over near the accident site.
I've not seen that. No.
That flourishes in radioactive.
I think maybe I have seen something about it, but I didn't retain it.
It eats radioactivity.
Nice. Good for it.
Yeah, so they're thinking about using it on future iterations of spaceships, like within the wall.
Oh, to like absorb.
Yeah, like radiation. Yeah,
that'd be neat.
Yeah,
mushroom ships. That'd be kind of interesting.
It would be.
I don't know. I feel like that would be hard to maintain though, because you would need to provide the walls of your spaceship with nutrients. And that seems like it would be more work than it is worth.
Maybe.
For the most part. Like to make anything big enough, you would only be able to use it like on small parts of your ship. And you would need... I'm just like the infrastructure you would need to support that, life and grow mushrooms in the walls of your spaceship, I think would be prohibitively difficult. It would
it's like a mold is what it is.
I guess.
Yeah.
But even so, I feel like it would take up too much space and probably too much weight. There are probably more cost-effective ways to help block radiation on a spaceship.
Maybe.
Because that's the thing that's difficult about space travel is every single gram of weight has to be accounted for.
Right.
And that will be a difficult thing to manage. If you have something that's going to be potentially growing and shrinking while you're there, that would be difficult. Weight's not going to get added, of course, but the way it's distributed might not
change.
Be easily controllable. And that's bad. Space is a bad place to be.
Yeah, it's not hospitable.
I feel like I've had nightmares about being stuck in space, and they were frightening. They were bad. I mean, it was a nightmare. So
sure,
it wasn't pleasant categorically. I don't think when
you know how you would die if you got ejected from a spaceship, right?
Your blood boils.
Actually, you would suffocate first.
Yeah, well, yeah, because all of the air would immediately go
out of your body.
Out of your body, and then your blood boils.
Right. Even though you do have an internal pressure.
Well, and that would be. I think you also inflate because of the air that cannot escape. All of the air in your lungs would escape. All of the
and what it's essentially air in your blood vessels. Yeah.
The air in your blood vessels is what causes it to boil. And the air in your cells and whatnot causes you to like inflate a bit. It's one of the things. I think I got into like an argument with somebody about this scene in The Last Jedi where Princess Leia gets ejected out into space and then uses the Force to pull herself back into the spaceship. And I was like, she would die like instantly.
Well, you have about 30 seconds.
But she was out there for a while. And also...
She has the Force, though.
That's true. But like you might have about 30 seconds, but if you manage to survive that time...
You're not healthy afterwards.
You are going to be fucked up irreversibly for life, probably. Yeah. Like, decompression events are bad for the human body.
They are.
Even if you survive the event of being out in space for a bit, and you get brought back in, you're probably still just going to die just later. So yeah, I don't know. Space is bad.
Anyway,
how have we been talking for 24 minutes?
Yeah, a lot of it about death.
About death.
Yeah.
Death Stranding.
Yeah.
That's a game that I've already talked about. Something else that came out recently is there's a new update for Darktide, Warhammer 40K horde shooter thing that I've been playing on and off for a couple of years, and there's a new update where you basically play as the space ATF, and you have a robot dog, and it's fun. It's
nice.
good. The game has continuously improved since they've released it, which is good because when they released it, it kind of sucked. But now it finally feels the way it should have when it released. Almost 3 years after it released. It wasn't as buggy as like Cyberpunk was when it released. Like Cyberpunk is another one of those games that took like 2 or 3 years before it felt like it was a complete game. Darktide felt incomplete just because it totally lacked a shitload of features that their previous game had. And yeah, it was just like, why does this feel like such a sparse experience? Why did they not include all of these things? Like, what's the deal? And it just seems like the game came out like a year too early.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's in a better shape now. They finally added like a plot to the mission.
Well, they didn't have that before.
They did, but none of it was like accessible to the player. Like during the development before it came out, they promoted like, oh, it's got a story written by Dan Abnett. You know Dan, you're a Warhammer nerd. You know Dan Abnett.
Sure.
Like you know, you're a fan of Gaunt's Ghosts. You like his Inquisition books. Here's a game about the Inquisition. Yada yada yada. It's like, okay, cool. I'm so excited for this story. And then there wasn't a story. It wasn't in there. There was just kind of lore. There was lore about the planet you're on and the city you're fighting in, and that was, and it was released via like blog posts by the developer, and it's like, okay, why didn't you figure out a way to introduce this to us in the video game you made? So yeah, but now it's got a little bit more structure to it. And it's weird because their previous game, the Vermintide games, those games have like a story. It's not like a big cinematic campaign full of set pieces or anything, but it's there. And it's more coherent also because you have just 5 playable characters, and they are characters. They're not like a class. Like they have a class, but it's this, the class is dwarf, and that dwarf's name is Barden. And like you're not playing just an unnamed dwarf that you get to name yourself. Like you are playing Barden Gorikson. You are playing Marcus Kruber. You are playing Sienna Fuegonassus. Like they are characters that have personalities. Versus in Darktide, where you make you get to customize your character, but it also means that they don't really have any way to directly interact with the story because they're just meant to be just sort of a generic person of a certain type. Oh, you are a former soldier. You are a psyker. You are a crazy religious zealot, or you are a big dumb guy if you're playing an Ogren. But yeah, I like Darktide now. It's good.
Nice.
It's good now. King Parrot.
King Parrot. They're Australian.
They are Australian. Did you know that they're Australian?
I did. I was aware of that.
And they're named after a parrot from Australia. So yeah, King Parrot is an Australian grindcore band from Melbourne.
Melbourne, Australia. They're
from Melbourne. Make sure you don't pronounce the R very strongly. It's got to be there just a tiny amount. Some people they're like, oh, in Australia they say Melbourne. It's like, no, they don't say Melbourne. They say Melbourne. The R is there. It's just so soft. It's like a chinchilla. It's soft as a chinchilla, an Australian thing, definitely. Chinchillas.
Never pet a chinchilla, by the way.
You shouldn't pet a chinchilla?
No.
I know you're not supposed to bathe a chinchilla.
Well,
but I didn't know.
I mean, in the wild. I mean, they're essentially a weasel. I mean,
they're a rodent.
Are they a rodent?
Chinchillas are rodents.
No, sorry, I was thinking of a mink.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Minks are
mink.
vicious.
Yeah.
Chinchillas, I think are. I think they're pretty all right as far as rodents go. I don't think they're quite as like relaxed as rats tend to be, but I think chinchillas are relatively. They're not as violent as hamsters.
Right, hamsters are assholes.
Rats, I know, out of all the rodents that you could keep as pets, rats are kind of sweethearts.
Yeah, I've been bitten by a rat a number of times,
but ultimately, it's just a rat, so it's not going to be too bad.
No. And also, a chinchilla, by the way, is one of the riff patterns that I used to play as a guitar player.
Chinchilla.
Yes.
I do know you're not supposed to bathe chinchillas. I do know that.
Don't get your chinchilla wet.
Yes, or it will multiply.
Yeah.
Don't feed them after midnight. So anyway, King Parrot. Like I said, they're an Australian grindcore band. They were formed in 2010. They've released 4 studio albums, including this one, which came out last month.
Yes, about a month ago,
June. They've made a bunch of other stuff. Their albums have fun names, like for example, "Bite Your Head Off," "Dead Set," "Ugly Produce." They've got some EPs, one which I think has a very fun name, which is "The Stench of Hardcore Pub Trash," and "Hold Up in the Lair." So yeah, some fun names. Grindcore, I feel like, is one of those genres that can either be so nasty it's just uncomfortable, or it's just stupid fun.
This is the latter.
This is definitely in the stupid fun category.
They also have some poignant stuff in there as well.
For sure. Yeah. But it's not like, it's not like Prowler in the Yard.
No, it's definitely not.
Like, I like that album, but that album is fucking disgusting. That album is so nasty. Pig Destroyers, maybe it might be their first album.
Maybe
I think it's like from 1997 or something like that.
It's from
it's a while ago.
30 years ago about.
This album is much more on the kind of fun sort of punk side of grindcore. It was kind of interesting because it's not a super long album, but I did like over the course of the album, like get it more of a taste for it. I enjoyed it immediately, but I was the lead vocalist. I was a little put off by his vocal style because it's extremely nasally. It sounds almost like he's got the accent that fucking. Have you seen Furiosa?
Of course.
Chris Hemsworth's character. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's got that really nasally Australian accent.
Right.
And his voice has that quality while he's screaming.
My thoughts were just fellow. Well, I guess he's not Australian, but he lives in Australia, or at least did. If Brian Johnson of AC/DC, if Brian Johnson from AC/DC was like doing proper screaming, that is kind of what it would sound like. That's sort of recontextualized my thoughts on it a little bit. Like I didn't dislike it. It was just at first it was definitely like, well, this sounds weird. But also I have a higher tolerance for things that sound weird when I know I'm listening to a grindcore album, because it sounding weird is part of the point. Right.
The backing vocalist is also the bassist, has a more typical death growl that he does.
A dowel.
A dowel.
It's a death growl.
But they've been around for a bit. This is their first album in since 2017. Right. That's a pretty big gap.
Yeah.
Between 2017 and 2025 for albums.
Long awaited.
Back in 2015, their album Dead Set was nominated for an ARIA Award, which is basically like the Australian Grammys, which is wild to me. And they lost to an Australian metalcore band called North Lane. With an album that I actually listened to a lot when it came out. I haven't listened to North Lane in an extremely long time.
Really?
But I saw that and I was like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot about North Lane. I remember that album being good. But I just haven't listened to them. Imagine North Lane's sound. Imagine Era, but if they were way chiller.
Okay.
If Era was a lot spacier,
sure.
I feel like that describes most of the North Lane albums that I've listened to.
All right.
If Era did like DMT and slowed down. I think North Lane legitimately has a couple of songs about having done DMT.
Sure.
It's a very sort of psychedelic take on like progressive metalcore. Where it was. I don't know what they sound like anyway because anymore because I haven't listened to them in a long time.
They're a lounge act now. Yeah.
They don't record their own. They just do Sinatra now.
Right.
They just do Sinatra covers.
Sinatra.
Start spreading the news.
They're a little bit Richard Cheese as well occasionally.
Anyway, so King Parrot. This album is pretty wild, pretty wild and pretty intense. It's only 25 minutes long, like I said.
It's what, 10 songs?
Something like that. Yeah. Something like that. I would have to turn too far around to look at the Spotify page.
Sure.
But yeah, it's there are definitely some longer songs on the record. There's a couple songs that crack the 2 or 3 minute mark.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like I don't have a ton to say about this album because it's just like, it's a fun grindcore album.
It is.
I was when you told me the name of this band, what immediately popped into my head is something that I do still want to hear.
I want to hear this as well, what you're about to say.
Which is Jimmy Buffett by way of King Diamond. Some fusion of the two in either combination, either King Diamond songs in the style of Jimmy Buffett or Jimmy Buffett songs in the style of King Diamond.
Yeah.
Either one of those I want to hear. Jimmy Buffett, of course, because Jimmy Buffett fans are called parrot heads.
Right. And King Diamond's name is King.
Yeah.
Not really, but
I mean, Kim doesn't Kim just mean king in Danish?
Maybe.
I think no. King is kongen or something like that, or kungen. It's kungen in Swedish. I think kongen is Norwegian. I only know that because the Norwegian version of the UK show Taskmaster is called like Kongen Belfjord or something like that, which means king of tasks because they don't have a word for like taskmaster.
Now I want some Coogan.
I know Kungen is Swedish for king because the king of Sweden, his nickname is Knugen, as a misspelling, and it's kind of mean. It became very popular on the internet to call him Knugen, because he's dyslexic. It's like people were making fun of his dyslexia by calling him Knugen, which when I learned that was like, well, that's not fun anymore. But I don't know. He's the king of Sweden. Like
he's doing okay.
He's probably doing all right. I mean, it's if you're the king of Sweden, like I don't know if you're doing that great because when people think of kings of the modern age, you don't think of Sweden.
I mean, they're a pretty modern country.
Sure, but like you don't. I'm not saying the country isn't modern. I'm saying that the monarchy matters even less than it does in a country where that's famous for its monarchy, being the UK,
right? Where
ultimately the monarchy doesn't really matter, and it's even less important in Sweden.
I mean, am I getting paid? You gonna call me king? Okay.
Do I get a crown? Sure.
Yeah. You ain't got to kneel. No.
Now I'm just thinking of King Charles's giant sausage fingers. You seen them things?
Yeah, great.
They're huge.
Does he have a condition of some kind?
Yeah, he's got like a blood pressure condition.
Gotcha.
I mean, he is old.
Yeah, his condition is called Ancient.
I mean, he did also have cancer recently.
Right.
But I don't think that had anything to do with how big his fingers are.
He had finger cancer.
He had very concentrated.
Yeah.
Very, very concentrated. Now I'm thinking of that crazy, evil-looking portrait. You remember that, where it was all like red? Mm-hmm. It looked like someone had like dunked it in the mood slime from Ghostbusters. Yeah. It was weird.
And creepy.
Yeah. Strange. Now I'm just thinking about King Charles. What about a King Charles Spaniel? Or a King Parrot?
Oh, yeah, that's a band.
That's a band from Australia, which is in the not the British Commonwealth, just the Commonwealth, the Commonwealth of Nations, as it's called, formerly the British Dominion, and before that the British Empire. I don't think it was the Dominion for very long.
No.
After Star Trek, they were kind of like, no, we should change that.
Yeah,
we don't want to be confused with those guys.
The shapeshifters, they're into the wormhole.
That's what caused this change.
Yeah,
it wasn't trying to no longer be seen as an empire.
Yeah, as domineering.
Yeah. No. Now we're just a cultural and economic union. Forget about all the colonialism stuff. And Australia is a place where that happened. And Australia is where King Parrot is from.
Right.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
I discovered
You're so
this.
Smart.
My thinky brain works.
Your thinky brain worked good.
So I actually discovered this on the way to
the Goth Satanic Wedding.
Yeah.
How did you discover it?
I told her. I don't want to say her name because she'll start doing shit.
Voldemort?
No, yeah. I mean, basically, SIRI is Voldemort because you say her name in her presence.
I thought you were talking about somebody else.
No. No. I told her I said just play death metal. And
your digital assistant.
My digital assistant on my Apple phone.
Okay.
That I have in my lap.
Yes. I was so confused.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Because that's a joke I play every now and then on the radio. Because it turns out that my voice will activate our traffic lady's phone. I'm sorry. How many other phones will my voice activate? So occasionally I'll be. I'll be on the radio and I'll say, hey, by the way, hey Siri, call mom. And I wonder how many people are out there going, no.
Or Alexa or something.
Yeah.
You could do Alexa maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I discovered and this was the song. It's a Rort was the song that came out. I'm what the hell is a Rort?
Yeah, I had to look that up.
Yeah. And
it's like a scam.
Yeah.
It was like that's obviously some Australian slang that I'm not familiar with.
And a dunny rat.
I missed that one. Huh. What a dunny rat! I mean, that's a dunny. A dunny is a bathroom.
And dunny is an outhouse.
Yeah, an outhouse.
Yeah.
And so you're a rat in the outhouse.
Yeah. Slyer than a dunny rat. Yeah.
That I missed that bit of Australian slang. Does this album slap?
Yeah. It does.
It absolutely does for sure. Definitely. I wasn't able to find enough reviews that had like actual numbers on them to aggregate any kind of a score. But it seems like people were pretty keen on this.
Yeah.
It seems like people are happy. First of all, that they put out an album again,
right?
Because it'd been a while. And second of all, that it's good.
Yeah.
And it's what they wanted. So I'm happy for people who were already fans of I wanted to say Dead Parrot. If you're a fan of the Dead Parrot sketch.
It's pushing up daisies.
This grindcore is pining for the fjords. It's a Norwegian blue.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song?
I think "It's a Rort" is my favorite song on here because
What's the line from the Wham line?
When the going gets tough, you can go and get fucked.
Yeah, that I just heard that and was like, yeah,
oh, yeah,
that's so good.
What's funny is that it's clever and it's fun. It's what you want to chant, but the song is about police harassing homeless people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, which is a sad,
But it's a thing that you can get fired up and angry about.
Sure. And this does that.
It does that for sure. What medal do you bestow upon this album?
I give this a gold because
it's a high silver for me. I think it's a high silver.
I've listened to it 15 times already.
I mean, it's easy to do that.
Yeah,
it's not very long.
You don't need that much time.
Yeah. So next week is an album that'll probably take a bit longer to listen to. I guess I don't know how long it is, but they're a band who generally makes like 50-ish minute albums. That would be the new Shadow of Intent album, Imperium Delirium, which I've listened to a little bit of. I don't know if it was just the environment I was listening in. I'm curious to see how you feel. Something about the mix felt weird to me.
Okay.
Which on subsequent listens maybe we'll talk about more, or maybe it's not a problem. But I was listening to it, was like something feels off about the production. I don't know. It's weird. But we'll talk more about it in general next week. New Shadow of Intent album. I generally like everything I've heard from Shadow of Intent, so I'm hoping this whatever weird issue I felt I was experiencing is not a to the album's detriment. I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining things.
Whenever you bring this band up, I always think like it's a courtroom policy. You have to prove,
Your Honor, I would. Can you prove Shadow of Intent? Yeah. It's a reference to a ship from Halo 3. All of the ships in the entire Halo franchise have fucking amazing names.
Yeah.
Both the human ships and the alien ships. The alien ships have really cool names. And one of them is Shadow of Intent. There's a Long Night of Solace is another one. Like, nice. They have really cool, really poetic names. And then the human ship names are all over, but they're generally really cool. Like Pillar of Autumn. That's really cool. There's another ship mentioned in one of the books that's called Two for Flinching. Which is just fun, and it feels like...
It's fun.
Like all of the different people that have written material for the Halo franchise have just like, every time they put the pen down to write a ship name, it's just fucking golden. I don't know why. It's amazing.
Two for Flinching.
Or the most consistent through line is like references to famous battles throughout history. Like there's a Gettysburg, there's a Thermopylae, there's like many different things, but sometimes there's fun ones like Two for Flinching or there's a couple other ones. Anyway, that'll do it for this episode of the Bronze Medals podcast. If you liked what you heard for some reason, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to our feed on whatever podcast service you use to listen to us. But until you hear from us again, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Bronze Medals podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.